Good morning, Fiji, and welcome to the Brunch on MaiTV. I'm Jacquee Speight.
And I'm Temesia Tuicaumia. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Well, in case you're wondering, Stanley has gone off again,
Roaming.
as he usually does. I mean, he's from Savu Savu.
Yeah.
So this is just one man who can't keep still. And anyone who knows someone from Savu Savu, they might know this about them too, you know? You can't keep them still. But on the upside, we are very fortunate to have the amazing, the wonderful.
Thank you very much.
What else shall I call you? Lovely, you know, just
From
inspire. No, I'm not going to say that. Temesia Tuicaumia back in studio with us.
Thank you so
How
much.
have you been, T?
I've been very well.
Yeah.
Very excited for this year.
Right.
So much to do and a lot on the news.
A lot on the news.
A lot on the news.
And we'll take a quick look now at what's in the dailies on the front page. You want to start first, or shall I
Yes.
go ahead?
Well, with the Fiji Sun, ex-FICAC head testifies against Bainimarama, Syed Kayum and Sharma.
And on the Fiji Times, plans to make Fiji a high-income nation.
Interesting.
You know, every week it's just one big topic after the next.
It is.
We go from drugs,
Yes.
we go to
We have the
JSC, we've got the Fiji Sports Council,
And now-
it's just one thing after the next, and now we're talking about making Fiji a high-income nation. And we have the Fiji Sun's acting news manager, Eva Nataro, and MaiTV's news manager, Lavenia Lativerata, joining us now. Good morning,
fantastic.
ladies.
Good
and
morning.
thank you for joining us on the brunch this morning. How are you both?
Good morning.
Morning, good morning, Jacquee and Temesia. Morning.
Vanuaca. Well, we'll get straight into it. Eva, the Fiji Sun covered Parliament extensively on pages 2 and 3 today. What have some of the MPs said in response to the president's speech?
Thank you, Temesia. I think for us, for me personally, the biggest thing is the cost of living. I think that is what it was addressed by the leader of the opposition, India Seruratu. So, you know, like there's pressure on families because of the high cost of living. So, people in rural areas, they cannot afford things that are being sold nowadays because of the increase in cost of goods.
Okay, we seem to be having some technical issues there, but Eva, carrying on, one of the top stories this week comes from the trial of Fiji's former Prime Minister, Vorengen Bainimarama, former Attorney General Syed Kayum, and former Health Minister, Dr. Neil Sharma.
I haven't heard that name in a while.
Yes, so they've been in and out, and they face charges over a 2011 medical procurement tender, including abuse of office and breach of trust. And on the first day of trial, a former anti-corruption official told the court he paused an investigation into a government minister because he feared repercussions. Eva, what did the court hear yesterday? Can you share more on that?
Yes, as covered in our front page this morning, the former FICAC deputy commissioner, George Langman. So when he gave his evidence yesterday, he said that he feared losing his job because of the administration at the time. The allegations are that the former attorney general had obstructed to the cause of justice when he told Mr. Langman to stop the investigation into the former minister for health's alleged interference in the health tender. Then the former minister for health is Dr. Neil Sharma. So that's basically, in a nutshell, what was heard in court yesterday: the fear of losing his job. I cannot go into detail on the case, Jacquee.
Thanks so much for that, Eva.
Thank you so much. Well, we'll pull Lavenia into this discussion as well. La, during proceedings yesterday, Langman was also questioned on the independence of the institution
right.
and his reasons for following instructions. What can you tell us about that, Eva?
La.
Sorry, La.
Sorry. Right. Thanks, Jackie. Thanks, Temesia. So yes, the Mr. Langman was questioned extensively by the defense on the independence of FICAC. Well, and Mr. Langman did say that yes, the FICAC Act provides for the independence of the institution of FICAC. It looks good on paper, he said, but on the ground, according to him, that doesn't always work, and that's why he did what he did. Eva alluded to that he paused the investigation. He, out of fear of losing his job, and that assertion is based on observation he made of other independent bodies being removed overnight. Basically, so this was said in court. The trial is still happening. It'll continue till around March 27.
Say whether this happened often, or was this just a one-off incident?
Well, he told the court that during his tenure until his resignation in 2019, this was the only investigation he paused. So that basically, I can't say much more than that, Jackie, because like I said, the case is still before the court.
Well, very interesting, and we're just going to have to keep watching and following this particular case.
That's right.
Government is also reviewing the Mining Act of 1965 and Quarries Act of 1939, and these laws are over 60 years old. So the Ministry of Lands and Mineral Resources say they're outdated, they don't reflect modern mining or environmental standards.
And after 9 years on hold, public consultations are now underway to hear directly from landowners and communities about the changes they want. La, what's coming out of day one of consultations right now?
Thank you, Temesia. So yesterday we had two consultations, one in Suva and one that was held last night at Rishikul in Walelevu. One of the sentiments that have kept recurring during at least the two consultations that have happened is that people want, or landowners want, real partnership, not just payouts. They want real partnership, fair share of the mining revenue, stronger environmental protections, and free prior informed consent. That's what they're saying is lacking in the Mining Act as it is.
Wow, it's good to hear that the communities are speaking up and sharing their concerns.
Oh, right.
So,
Sorry, Temesia.
Under the 2013 Constitution, it says the state owns all minerals. How does that affect these requests by the landowners?
That's right. I also forgot to mention that ownership. Ownership was another major a theme or the recurring sentiment that was raised from these consultations. Ownership, that with landowners wanting all of the ownership according to them. And according to the Mining Act 1965, yes, ownership belongs to the state, and that is also stated on Section 30 of the 2013 Constitution. But see, the challenge is the officials acknowledged this too last night when they were questioned by the landowners of, what's the point of holding these public consultations if you don't change the 2013 Constitution? That was questioned. The landowners raised that question to the officials that were there, at least at Rishikul. And this is what the officials said, that yes, they can change the Mining Act, the provisions of the Mining Act, but changing Section 30 of the Constitution about the ownership of these resources will take time. The government, as you know, have begun the consultations, a review of a review of the Constitution. At least this is following up on the Supreme Court's ruling in August last year after they changed the amendment thresholds. And last week they also completed referendum bill. This is another mechanism that needs to be put in place to allow for these changes to take place. But again, like ownership, changing ownership, yes, they can do that on the Mining Act, but in the Constitution, that will take time. But given that, that said, it doesn't mean that ownership is only one component of the changes that the landowners want made. or one ton. They're also looking for, like I mentioned, real partnerships, free prior informed consent before any mining or even any of that takes place. They want to be consulted on what's going to happen to their environment, how are they going to be compensated, as well as environmental rules, just protection for not only their resources but the future and for the generations.
Thanks so much for that, Lars. Some great insight there. And honestly, I really hope that, members of the public, if you know that consultations are happening in your area, in your community, in your town, wherever you are, go out and have your say. Don't just sit back. There's a reason that these consultations happen.
That's civic education.
It's civic education.
Yeah.
It's get to,
Letting your voice be heard.
Exactly. Let your voice be heard.
This is your Fiji.
That's just it.
Can I
Don't
just
sit back.
Sorry, can I
and
just say
then
one more thing about
decide
that?
afterwards, when decisions have been made, that you're not happy about it. Step up and have a say. And I think both the ladies are in agreement with me on that. So before we let you busy ladies go about your day, Eva, the Joshua Rahman case that was heard in court yesterday, I understand there was an immigration standoff.
Yeah, yes, Jackie. It was like watching a movie when I read that page 4. Like the immigration officials waiting outside while Joshua Rahman, who was found with cocaine in 2019. He's accused of drug possession, and he's also a Canadian national. So he was kept inside court because the immigration department actually labeled him a prohibited immigrant. So that's the standoff that happened yesterday in court. The matter was called 3 times, and on the third time, the acting DPP, Nancy Tikresuva, then informed the court had resolved the issue earlier on with the immigration department. So Joshua Ram was granted bail under strict conditions. The matter was adjourned to March 13. So that's basically what happened in court on the matter of Joshua Rahman.
Well, that's another case to look out for. There's so many cases to look out for. Thanks so much for joining us, Eva. You have a great day. Before we move on, we're going to get La back with us. La, is there any last sentiments that you wish to share with us? Anything that you feel the public should know before we send you on your way to cover court?
Right. Yes, thank you, Jackie. Again, about the Mining Act, consultations continues today in Nausori. We also have consultations planned in Corovo next week before they move to the west next week and the following week to the north. So the plan is, according to the Ministry of Land and Mineral Resources, that they'd like the feedback compiled and they will put together a bill that will be submitted to Cabinet by July 31st.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for that update, La. You have a great day. And to all our viewers, there you have it. So, Ministry of Lands is going to be holding consultations in Nausori. Then they're going to move on to Corovo before they move on to the west. So, if you're in Nausori today, or you happen to be driving past to go somewhere, please attend the public consultation. Share your views. Go and listen to what other people are saying. Have an opinion about something, So,
and it's good to start these conversations at home as well.
Yes.
Talk about it with your children, talk about it with your family.
Yep.
Things that your grandparents have probably raised up. This is the time you can go and voice it. And if you're on the wrong page and you share something, it's fine.
We're all learning.
That's a space for it.
Yeah.
Go and share what you need to share. And if there's anything else you need to add, make sure to share it there, because when they put it into the document, that goes straight to those that are in charge of making sure that the people's voice has been heard.
Thank you so much for that, Master T.
Sorry, that's my passion. I love consultations.
I feel like you could just go on and on.
Go Fiji, go. This is our time to be heard.
Well, we have to go to a short break now, but don't go anywhere. When we come back, we'll have the lovely, phenomenal Judy Compain joining us in studio. welcome back. You're watching The Brunch on MaiTV, and joining us on the show this morning is International Women's Association Fiji President, the phenomenal, amazing Judy Compain. Thank you so much for joining us on the show, for agreeing to come on and sharing with us some, I know, pearls of wisdom, right?
Yes. I've been just admiring the work you've been doing the last couple of months, well, weeks actually, after your charity ball. But I guess, you know, just to get things started, a lot of people don't really know what IWA is, and we know you're based in Suva. Would you mind just sharing with us your mission or your vision and values?
Yes.
Our the International Women's Association, thank you for having me, is a women's charity made up of many women from many different nationalities and background.
Yes.
And our mission or our aim is to help improve. Right now we're focusing on healthcare.
Yes.
Make as many improvements as we can while we can with the resources that we have.
Fantastic.
So this year's charity ball, everyone looks forward to the International Women's Association charity ball. It's like the event of the year.
I think it's our first one.
right.
It is the first one.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit about the first one for this year, how successful it was
So we raised $300,000
in one night.
in one night, over $300,000. We sold 470 tickets in 2 weeks. So we were literally sold out 2 weeks after I
That is amazing.
sent out a flyer. It just shows the trust people have in IWA. That's what I strongly believe, the community. And everybody wanting to be a part of this giving that we do, right? So we go and do our work.
Yes.
But it just means that you feel and you know that you've been part of this mission and this work in our healthcare, and especially at the CWM hospital,
Yes.
where we focus most of our time and energy
yeah.
on. Yes.
That's so true about they trust, right? The trust in
It's the trust.
IWA. And then you're so vocal on social media, but you also provide everyone, even people who are not part of IWA or who have never attended a charity ball, you're constantly updating us with what you're doing, which part of the hospital that they've renovated. I love the latest video. I think you were making up a bed. Was that in one of the
Yes.
restrooms?
That was the last project which finished last week, so we've started another one. But it's accountability.
Yes.
So I'm accountable to everyone who gives money to IWA. So every dollar of ours raised goes towards our projects, right? We do not have any administration costs at all, so it's zero. So every dollar in the IWA account is for the community and for our projects.
I love how transparent the organization
It is transparency and
Yeah.
accountability, yes.
I've been very blessed to be able to see what Judy and the amazing women do. And I really wanted to just, I think Fiji needs to hear about this amazing machine
Right.
that they funded, not on this one,
Yeah.
but on their
Yeah.
previous project.
Yes, yeah.
But it's a 3D scanner. Do you mind just sharing with everyone that's watching how special this machine is? Because I don't think a lot of people realize.
So the 3D ultrasound machine is, it provides early detection. So I'm not a medical professional in any way,
But
right?
you're using a lot of terms.
I just
Medical terms.
listen to the doctors and they
Yeah.
tell me what I need to know, and then I tell people what they also need to know. So
Right.
what I
Yes.
say is like, okay, it's what I know. So the 3D ultrasound
Yeah.
machine ultimately provides early detection for mothers with complications mostly. So
Yes.
they're the high risk. So it's maternal fetal medicine. And in that process, we also built them a two-room clinic
Yes.
where we put the machine in. So it's early detection. So if there's something wrong with the baby,
Yes.
it just ensures that they can have proper care up until they have the baby, right?
So even from as young
Yep.
as the baby is as an embryo, that
Yes.
machine is able to scan right through.
Yes, it's so 3D. So you know what a 3D machine
Yes.
is. That's what they see the baby, the fetus
Fantastic.
as, yeah.
Yes.
The normal scan does not provide anything near the
Yeah.
pictures anywhere near as good as the 3D ultrasound machine.
Correct me
So
if
it's-
I'm wrong, Judy. Is it able to detect HIV as well?
No, that's through blood. So
That's
it's
through the blood.
because of the high number of pregnant women with NCDs and HIV, the risks to the babies are so much higher, right? So this machine detects any abnormalities in baby, as in physical abnormalities.
Yes.
In that way, the parents are counseled. So in the room that we've built for them, there's a couch there, so there's counseling after, or the discussions, the ongoing discussions with the mothers on how to on how they will manage their pregnancy to the end.
That's fantastic.
Anyone listening to you will think that you have your degree in the medical field or you're a nurse. Judy, can you please share with our viewers, just, come, let's bring it back a bit. Apart from, is this your day job, your full-time day job? Tell us a bit about everything else that you do. Is this just something that you solely volunteer? Is this,
So my work with the IWA is solely as a volunteer. So it's completely unpaid, right? I don't get a dollar, a cent for any of the work that I do. And I choose to do this, right? From the bottom of my heart, this is what I choose. I don't have to do it, I know that.
Yeah.
I have a little cafe called The Farmer's Daughter, and that's my day job, really. I wake up every morning and I make my muffins and I make my cakes and I bake in the evenings or I bake in the mornings. I literally bake every day.
Right.
And that's how I survive, really.
Yes.
And this is, this takes up a lot of my time as well. So for the past month, I've been in the hospital several times a day, every day.
Right.
Like you're on shift as
So
well.
you go
I love
in,
it.
you go in and you identify areas that need fixing or need upgrading, need help with. How did the discussions around the machine come about? Like, where did that come from? Did the doctors tell you about it?
These doctors, they're so good at cornering me, right? It's just like, Judy, can I tell you something? And then they tell me their really sad story. So and it's heart-wrenching when you hear some of these stories, because when they talk about the high number of babies born with abnormalities, and if we had this machine that people have been talking about for 10 years and promising us for 10 years or 5 years or whatever, and if we had this machine, it would just save everybody so much time and energy and heartbreak, and mothers having babies that are maybe severely abnormal. So this prevents most of that with the early detection. So the 3D ultrasound machine was, I went into a hospital, into the antenatal clinic one afternoon, and this doctor comes and says, we've got this room, and if we had this machine, I said, okay, how much will it cost? I think $25,000. I said, Fijian? Yeah, okay, done. We'll get it for you. So I went back and did my research. A week later, it was like $100,000 machine, not $25,000. How about 60,000 Australian dollars? But anyway, we ordered it. With 3 weeks after that conversation, the machine had arrived in country.
Yay.
And then we had to find the space.
Yes.
And we walked around the clinic, and I'm like, yeah, okay, this is a big space. How about we just take this half? They're like, yeah, sure, call the contractor. Come on, can you do this? Yeah. 2 weeks later, we had a brand new maternal fetal medicine scan unit built, 2 rooms, and handed over. So within, it can be done, right?
Yes.
I mean, what I'm saying is, if you just take action instead of just the talk and the listening and not providing them with what they really and truly need, we will just be in where we're at, really,
And one thing I always say that Judy constantly says is dignity. Having dignity for these women in our hospital, making sure they have a safe space, they can talk to the doctor without being,
That's
there's a lot of women that come in there. There's a lot of moms, there's a lot of dads. So it's overwhelming.
It is.
Yes.
The next one I really want to ask you that I'm so excited about is the children's ward. I know you've started projects already in the 3-story building, but it was just overwhelming for me to walk through those 3 floors. Judy, do you mind just sharing with everybody what you're starting with and what you're hoping to accomplish in that ward?
Okay, there was a little bit of a few issues with that, but yesterday afternoon I went and inspected all the screens. So we have screened,
Yes.
as in
For the windows.
the window screens, the
Right.
grills. We put in crim-safe grills because we know that children get bitten by mosquitoes. Children get dengue fever while they're in there because they've been bitten by mosquitoes. So I did a walkthrough yesterday afternoon because the bill needs to be paid. There were a few screens that were already broken. Half the screens were open, and we're trying to talk to the women and saying, can you please leave this closed, because the purpose is that the mosquitoes don't come in and bite your children who are in the wards.
Yes.
So that has got to be the biggest challenge. But we would like to fix the whole children's hospital. It's currently on hold.
Okay.
I also need to take care of myself.
Right.
And I've been in the hospital for like a whole month doing
Yes.
two separate projects. And then we will decide when we come back. But you walk through it, Temesia, and just saw the black moldy ceilings, the leaks in the little consultation rooms. It truly is heartbreaking,
Yes.
right? I think Temesia was like in total shock at the state that it's in. And I mean, ideally, we would like to make it as beautiful as a children's hospital should be. You know, decent, clean. Again, it's always decent and respectful. You know, that's what our aim is for as many of the wards and rooms as possible that we can help change.
Oh, thank you. We'll continue this discussion after this short break, but before that, check out this quick and easy recipe from the great people at Extra Supermarket.
Today we're making a quick and healthy island veggie stir fry, packed with flavor and full of fiber. First, start by chopping your vegetables. Fresh cabbage, capsicum, carrots and onion. These colorful veggies not only taste great, but are also rich in nutrients. High fiber, low fat, great for digestion and a healthy lifestyle. Next, heat a small amount of coconut oil in a pan. Once the oil is warm, now add the cabbage and the rest of the vegetables into the pan. Sprinkle a little black pepper for a mild kick. Everything a good stir so the flavors start to combine. After that, splash in some soy sauce and toss the vegetables together for about 2 minutes, keeping them slightly crispy and fresh. And just like that, your island veggie stir fry is ready to serve. Hot, colorful and full of goodness.
Welcome back. You're watching the Brunch on MaiTV, and we have with us the phenomenal Judy Compain in studio. Thank you so much again. We're going to continue our discussions, and we were talking with Judy about the refurbishment of the Children's Hospital. So, Judy, could you tell us a bit more about what else is happening?
Well, also part of the hospital refurb would be the physiotherapy room for children, which is a very large room, and I tend to think that they have very old equipment for children's physio needs.
Yes.
And most of it is donated items. And you can see that, I hate to say that sometimes I think we've become a dumping ground.
Yes.
People would like to donate, but it doesn't mean that something's really outdated, that Fiji needs it or our hospital needs it. I think it's very unfair. Because especially when you walk into the physio, the children's
And the
physio.
amount of human traffic in that hospital every day.
Right outside the room is the mortuary, and you know we were there and we were being told about the stench every now and then when they bring a body in, because they have to leave the windows open. Because it's not air conditioned. These are the basic things that need to be fixed and addressed urgently.
Children have
We've
the
done
right to
I've
say
done a
space.
call out for. I've asked an organisation if they could source all the equipment for the physio room, and
that's amazing.
if they can provide it, otherwise we're happy to buy it. But
Yes.
everything's
That's
stuck
gonna be
in the
exciting.
corner, and it's actually a
Yes.
hazard as well. They also wanted a library set up, a children's
Yes.
library. So
Right.
we've,
And you
we've
and you sit on the board, is it? Or
No, I don't sit on the board.
Oh.
But she could be the board, like part of it, like main,
Oh, I'm sorry,
main
the
one.
board for the foundation.
I'm with the Catalyst. I'm a
Catalyst,
trustee.
yes,
Okay.
a trustee.
Yes, I'm a trustee on the Catalyst
they do
Foundation
amazing
who
work as well.
support a lot of my work. We've put down a bookshelf that's now in the physio room. We gave to Physio
that's
Sam.
exciting. I can't wait to see it.
I've asked the international school students to do a book drive as well, and your school is very welcome to be part of that.
Thank you.
And so we can just set them up
That's going
nicely.
to be great.
The other thing that's still outstanding with the Children's Hospital is the lift. So despite us, the IWA raising funds 2 years ago to pay for the installation of a new lift, we were denied that. So government said that they had the money and they were going to install it. So unfortunately and very sadly, up until now, the lift is not working. So there's something installed. There's a lift installed or something's installed, but nothing works. So as long as it's not functioning, the lift doesn't work. So you can't tell me that the lift has been installed. We need it to be functioning because women and children are walking steps in long corridors.
It's 3
to get,
stories.
Yeah, you know, when they come from the operating theatre, they've got to come up, you know, through the tunnel and through the corridors and up another lift and down another corridor to where they need to be. So it's, so as long as it hasn't been a priority, right? And it needs to be. So maybe that's my next.
Maybe that's the next thing for you to go after.
Yes. Project.
And hopefully anyone who's watching this will, you know, get the ball rolling and get things going for Judy here and for the children at the Children's Hospital.
You know, Judy, from the maternity ward to the children's ward, that's a huge block already on its own. And again, I've been on a tour with this amazing woman. She knows the hospital inside and out. It amazes me. You love working with women. And, you know, I've seen a lot of women, even the security guard, the woman in front, knows Judy. You know, even the cleaners, everybody know who Judy is at the hospital. What's another project around the women's spaces that you've really pushed on their dignity and just making sure they have a safe space?
So the antenatal clinic, which is downstairs at the maternity hospital, so that's been completely renovated.
It's fantastic,
It is, and it's so beautiful and it's so clean and it's very respectful, and there's the privacy and the dignity for women. So we've built the high-risk clinic. We've now built the maternal fetal medicine clinic.
Fantastic.
We've done the complete renovation of the antenatal clinic, and it just means when pregnant women go downstairs or go in for their clinics, they're in a nice, clean, air-conditioned environment. And what's also important is that the professional staff, our healthcare workers, work in an environment where they're so happy to be part of.
That's true.
You know, they work, they're so happy because everything's nice and clean, and we've given them literally everything that they need.
And, you know, they're there for long hours. Do you mind just sharing that new room that you've just done for the doctors? Just, you know, going with how you've made sure that the doctors also have a space.
It's important that we also take care of our health professionals because when they're in a nice, comfortable, clean space where they can rest, it means that they can serve us better, and especially serving our women better.
And they're there for very long
And they're for
hours.
very long hours. Sometimes I hear about the hours that they're on shift, and I'm shocked at how a person can actually function. But providing them these spaces means that they can have a decent rest. Now they have a decent kitchen.
So they can
you know, they
eat.
have a nice big fridge where they can
store all their
store
They
their
didn't
food.
have a fridge before?
They had a little box one, a little, I don't know what you call it. It's smaller than a bar fridge. But that was like 30 doctors sharing this little fridge. So now we've bought them a nice new fridge, a microwave. Air conditioning, new beds, new desks, new
Windows
dining
that can
tables.
close.
Keep the rain out.
Very short.
Yes, and prior to that, they had a little hand basin. So almost every doctor's on-call room that I'd visited had a little hand basin, you know, little sink. And that was where they washed their dishes, where they washed their cups. And this is a lunchroom, right? Imagine you having a lunchroom where all your staff have use of one little hand basin, no shelving, no nothing. So we've built them all proper cabinets with proper sinks. And so we've done that in the emergency department, the operating theatre training rooms. the
Yes.
antenatal
Yeah.
clinic
Is
downstairs in the
that the training
antenatal.
room as well for the doctors that you
That's
did?
in the operating
Oh,
theatre.
operating theatre.
Yeah, but in the training room for the antenatal, the
Fantastic.
midwife's training room, and then now we've gone up to the maternity registrar and consultants rooms. Yeah.
And Judy, just so you can mention, apart from just refurbishing the facility infrastructure, that resources too are being purchased, right? Like printers and...
Yes, so we've done. So I go somewhere. Someone said yesterday, Judy, my printer. Another nurse, Judy, my printer.
Because
I'm
you're
like,
in charge
okay.
of admin too.
And I'm like, okay, hang on, please, because I'm just finishing the oral surgeon's room, right? And it's so many things. So that's how I got cornered into doing the oral surgeon's on-call room.
Yes.
Because I was delivering a printer down at the operating theatre training room at the sister in charge.
Yes.
And so a doctor comes around the corner, a surgeon, and he says, oh, madam, I just wanted to show you something. So we walked from one end of Extension Street all the way to the dental clinic, and he showed me this room, and I was just horrified at, rotten. It was leaking, obviously. It's like a forgotten part of the hospital, this oral surgeon's room. So that's what I've been working on the past week, and I hope to
that's
complete
amazing.
it
Can't wait
today.
To see.
I cannot wait to see
Well, all
that
the best.
update.
Yeah.
So, I have to ask, this I'd really like this for the young girls who are watching and for women who are watching. Are you able to share with us, because you do so much work for IWA, for the community in any way that you're able to? Are you able to share with us who are some of the women who have inspired you?
My mother. My mother, especially, she was she gave so much time and energy working in her church. And we grew up within the church as well, and doing all this work. And every day she left the house, she was like, I'm going to church, I'm going to church. And it used to drive us crazy, right?
Yeah.
Probably how it drives my children crazy now, and I'm going to the
I'm
hospital.
going to the hospital.
I'm going to the hospital. My mother went to church, and she did work for St. Vincent de Paul.
Yeah.
And, the families that were not so fortunate in our parish in Osori. So seeing her and my dad, that's how we were raised. Also Bernadette Rounds Ganilau, she's she's my
woman.
yes.
Yes.
I think those two women especially have
Yes.
inspired me, but I'm surrounded by lots of amazing women.
As a woman in leadership, because you are a woman leader in this country,
Yes,
even if
she
you
is.
want to deny it, you are.
Influential.
What are you able to share with us some of the challenges that you have faced, and how have you overcome them?
One of the biggest challenges is speaking out.
Right.
And maybe that's not appreciated, but my challenges
Yes.
working in the hospital is about my being outspoken about all the issues that relate to doctors and nurses. So at a recent meeting, for example, in January, I was told that by the hospital administration staff that I was the only volunteer, or I was the only person who went and did work in the hospital who shouted out about it on social media. And I'm like, so if this is coming from a male or from people whose work it is that I really am doing,
Yes.
and they want me to be quiet, that's one of the challenges, but I'm not going to stop. So I told them that was not going to change. I'm a volunteer, so the work that I do is I'm unpaid.
Yes.
But I choose to do this work.
Yes.
I'm also, it's freedom of speech, right?
is.
Everybody talks about freedom of speech. It is my freedom of speech.
Yes.
So for me, that is my biggest challenge.
Wow.
Just dealing with people who, I think ultimately it's not trying to expose the state of the hospital.
Yeah.
For me, that's
No.
really what it
Yeah.
is. Exposing the true state of our health.
So that people are
System.
aware of the realities that
Otherwise,
you
people
know,
wouldn't
other
know
people are
what.
facing.
Yes.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you wouldn't really know or understand the challenges that the doctors and nurses face, as well as the people who use the hospital.
The hospital, yeah. And the hospital is for everybody.
And the
In
hospital
case
is
you're
for
wondering,
everybody.
If
That's
anything
true.
happens to us,
We're all
we'll
going to
all
end
end
up
up
there.
at that hospital.
Exactly.
And the CWM serves
Everyone.
the whole nation.
Yeah.
You know, our greatest doctors that do operations are based at this hospital.
Absolutely.
What's your next big project from here? And I know you've just spoken at the International Women's Day breakfast. And so, you know, a lot of young women, a lot of people are hearing the work you do.
Yes.
And like you've said, that's the challenge you faced. What's your next big thing for our hospital or just the work you do in general, Judy?
Yeah.
Ultimately, I think I'd like the Children's Hospital and the Maternity Hospital, if I can take care of those two hospitals for women and children. Maybe I can stop the work.
No.
Maybe I can
don't.
retire. Retire from.
Or you can
it's
mentor.
not going. It's
Yes,
not going.
you
It's
can
not
young
going to.
women and men to
It's
come
not
under
going
your
to happen
leadership.
because really, like the maternity hospital, postnatal, you know,
Yes.
that all needs renovation and upgrade. The labour ward, the you know, just the recovery for women. One of the other projects that I'm looking into is finding cots or bassinets
Baby cots, yes.
for all the mothers, because when you have your baby in the hospital, you're trying to squeeze onto a bed with
That's
your
right.
with your
With the
new
baby.
baby.
Yeah.
So a lot of women are not getting enough sleep. It's very stressful.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm trying to talk to somebody in China about importing baby cots, and also we've just paid last week for a $45,000 transport ventilator for our intensive care unit. It's something that they have desperately needed for the last
a lot
5
of money.
years.
That is, it's just, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Just amazing. So, bassinets, cots, books,
Physio room,
physio room,
equipment.
netting
equipment,
for the
netting. If any of this rings a bell for you, if you're watching and this rings a bell for you and you know that you can contribute, please step forward, raise your hand, reach out to Judy here on social media, on Facebook, or even just go down, pop in at the hospital. You're probably
Or
going
to
to
her
catch
cafe.
her. Or at the cafe, at the farmer's daughter.
Yeah.
Pay her a visit, you know, join the movement, get on
Yes.
board with it, do something meaningful. Judy, before we say goodbye to you, because we know you've got a very busy schedule.
She's back to the hospital.
She's back
after
to the
this.
hospital after this, zooming up the road. Is there anything that you would like to share with our viewers who are watching right now, with women around the country, young girls, men, anyone really?
I think it's important for everyone to understand the value of working as a community, working as partners, women supporting women, communities supporting communities, because ultimately we all benefit as a country.
We do.
And it's you see the importance of community leadership, you know. But more important, women have got to support women.
Yes.
Because we should be the power of our nation.
Yes.
That's just it.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank
Judy,
you for that
know,
reminder.
Sorry, just on behalf of Fiji, thank you for the work you do.
Thank you.
Honestly, no, once again, you know, you have the choice to not do this, but you do
Exactly,
it
but you've
every
chosen
day.
to do it every
and
day.
I know every little boy, girl in that hospital is grateful for the work you do, because you touch
Absolutely.
lives.
Yeah.
Thank you. Can I also thank everyone who supports IWA financially, especially. We have a wonderful community.
do.
I have wonderful partners who
Yes.
offer their services when I pick up the phone and make that telephone call.
They reach
Everyone, they run. You know, they run
Like, yes,
and they
Judy.
meet me at the hospital and we get things done.
What
so
do you need?
I'm very, very grateful
Yes,
for everyone who
community.
supports
Thank you
the IWA.
so much for that.
Thank you
you.
for
On
having me.
on a side fun note, you know, because T and I have been at it all morning about him being from Lao and how Laoans are so inspiring. T, I just wanted to point out for you that Miss Judy Compain over here,
Is from?
Thai level. Don't forget that. And ladies and gentlemen,
Well,
stay with
yeah.
us. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this short break. But first, we join Alphonsus at Extra Supermarket.
Welcome to Extra Supermarket, where you'll find more variety, more value, and more reasons to fill up that trolley. Come with me. Now, first up, if you're looking for something to refresh your day, you can't go wrong with the Yarra Valley Juice Range. Available in large 2-liter family bottles, or if you're on the go, grab the 1-liter range, including apple blackcurrant, mango, banana smoothie, orange mango, and pineapple juice. Perfect for the whole family at home. Now let's stock up your pantry with Australia's JC's premium grains and legumes. Choose from quality beans, chickpeas and pearl barley in convenient packs. Now this is good for soups, salads or any type of hearty, healthy cooking you're gonna do at home. Now it's time to take care of our four-legged family members, and you can't go wrong with the Hypro Adult Dog Food. The Hypro Premium Dog Food range comes in both 2.5 kg and 9 kg bags with delicious recipes made from real ingredients. Well, this is healthy nutrition to keep your dog happy and healthy. More choice, more value and more reasons to shop smart. You'll find everything you need right here at Extra.
Well, welcome back. This is the Brunch on MaiTV, and we hope you're enjoying the show so far this morning.
Now, the Fijian Drua will be playing at Govind Park in Ba this week. This will be their first ever game in Ba, and excitement is already building. I've got friends already going down for
Really?
this.
I was about to ask if you were going down for it.
Maybe.
Have you been to a Fijian
Never
Drua
been.
game?
Oh, yes, I have.
Where?
Yes, I have. At the stadium here in Suva.
Who
but
did they play
I keep
against?
here, well, it was a couple of years ago.
Okay,
I need to
so
go again soon.
I know, I need to go too. Maybe we
Maybe
should
we
go
should go.
together.
Yeah. MaiTV.
And to tell us more about it, we have with us this morning from the Fijian Drua, Josefa Vanuaca, a familiar face to a number of people who follow the Fijian Drua socials. Josefa, so good to have you on the show with us this morning. Thank you for agreeing to speak with us at the very last minute. How are you? How's the weather in Ba? Tell us about it.
Ando nak Jacquee, ando nak Temesia.
Bula.
I'm calling in from Ba. Ba, the weather here is great, and
Oh, wow.
I know we experienced some rainy weather last year. But I'm standing right here in at Forest Stadium. It's right here behind me. We've come in today for the open training session for the Fijian Drua. And we're welcoming schools and businesses and the community here in Ba in preparation for a game against Brumbies for the inaugural Super Rugby game here at Forest Stadium in Ba.
You know, I was about to say this is the inaugural game in Ba. This is the first time Ba is going to host an international rugby game, which is so exciting. But at the same time, it's the home of football.
It
so
is.
can you tell us, what have the ticket sales been like for the game in Ba? Okay. We got him back on?
Oh, yes, we do.
Oh, we've got you back on. Yes! The forces that be say we must have this interview. Sure, tell us about the ticket sales. How have the ticket sales been going?
So ticket sales, the demand has been really high. Again, the Fijian Drua fans are always surprising us. And we've seen from yesterday, tickets have been going out the door. Ba offers something unique for the fan experience because they have the grandstand that seats 9,000 people. And, for the appreciation of the fans, in comparison to Suva, Suva's grandstand holds 4,000. For Ba, it's the biggest grandstand ever, and ticket prices start from $20. That is not only the cheapest price for a Super Rugby game here in Fiji, but in all of the Pacific. So if you go to Australia and New Zealand, we still offer the cheapest ticket price for a grandstand seating.
That's
See,
fantastic.
that line where you said the Fijian Drua fans are always surprising us, eh?
Yes.
It's just in our nature as Fijians to do this. Like, we wait until the last minute. We'll have you run circles and get all
Monday to
worried.
Thursday, it's like, no,
exactly,
we're not going.
nothing. And then
Friday.
it's like, why aren't the
Ba, ba,
tickets
ba.
sailing?
Tosso.
Exactly. And then Friday comes in, boom. I am so excited for this weekend against the Brumbies. How are the boys coming along? Are you able to share with us a bit about that?
I mean, spirits are high. It's always good to come off a win from our last game. We had a break last week. It was a good time for the boys, the management and the coaching staff to reflect on the journey so far. It's always good to have a bye early on in the season. We can recalibrate, reset the compass. And like I said, we're here in Ba on Tuesday having this opening training. It serves a few things for us. It allows us to get used to the park because it's the first time playing here. It allows us to get used to the sun. But the sun, the weather in Ba is a bit different from Nandi and Lautoka. It's a bit hotter on this end of the island. So, you know, the boys have been in great spirits and we're looking and ready to go against the mighty Brumbies this Saturday.
Awesome.
Fantastic. Cho, we're going to let you go. But before we do you have any last words for viewers, for anyone who's tuned in right now?
Or any last minute?
Yeah. Last minute advice.
As always, I like to encourage the fans. You know, please do come out. If you like to purchase tickets, you know, you can purchase it from Jacquee Fiji, Shop and Save, or you can go online on Drua.flickr.io. And I encourage you to buy your tickets. You know, we don't want you to come all the way to Mba and find out that the ticket for the section you want is sold out. So please come out in numbers and toss on Drua.
Absolutely. Tosondrua, Vanuaca Vaka level, Cho. Best of luck to you and the boys.
Thank you so much, Jacquee. Thank you, Temesia. Mother.
Naka. So let's take a look now at our shot of the day.
Exciting. Now, this beautiful image was sent in by Nina Rakautonga. Those of you familiar with maritime travel to Vanuatu will recognize this scene instantly. A beautiful sunset at Nambawalu Jetty.
Just gorgeous.
Man, that could be framed.
Yes, absolutely. And we'd love to see pictures or videos from different parts of Fiji right here on The Brunch. If you have one you'd like to feature on the show, please send it to the MaiTV Facebook page or email brunch@maitvfiji.com.
We also have a weekly poll question on the MaiTV
Yes.
Facebook page. Last week we asked, should FICAC be abolished?
A very hot and heavy question. And the response was,
What was it?
52% of respondents
From
voted
Fiji?
yes.
Wow.
14% of you voted no. And interesting, 31% of respondents believed that it should be reformed instead of being abolished.
I love this. This is so, like, just the diplomacy in having a poll up on the
Yes.
MaiTV Facebook page is so cool.
Yes, so 3% of those that participated in the poll were unsure or needed more information.
Really? You even had that?
Yes,
That's
we did.
great.
We gave them options. So very interesting to see, you know, people's perspective here. So this week on our new, we have our new poll question that we're asking. And the question is the coalition government doing enough to combat the
That is a good
explosive
question.
surge in illicit drugs and the related HIV epidemic? Now, to answer this question, be sure to hop onto the MaiTV Facebook page and participate in the online poll.
Well, that's all we have time for today. I hope you've enjoyed the show as much as we have. Thank you for joining us.
And for The Brunch, I'm Jacquee Speight.
And I'm Temesia Tuicaumia.
We'll see you again on Friday, 10 a.m., live right here on MaiTV.
MaiTV.
Have a great and blessed day.